picked a bad spot.
Fans of the hit TV show From are excitedly waiting for its third season coming out September 22nd. The show premiered with relatively little fanfare, but very quickly made a mark on the horror genre. The first and second seasons of From cleared up very little regarding the many questions the series has posed so far, but hopefully this time we'll get some answers. Although honestly, the prospects of that happening are pretty slim, considering the trailer for the third season raises even more questions. Things are taking a drastic turn in the From universe, with winter setting in, food stocks getting emptied, and the creatures seemingly getting even stronger. It's the ultimate game of survival, but against what? Is it just the creatures everyone needs to fight against? Is it their individual survival instincts, where only the fittest will survive? Or is there a far bigger conspiracy involving the town as a whole, with the nightmarish creatures simply being a part of the puzzle? Among the numerous mysteries surrounding the show, there is one that is constantly brought up in every discourse regarding the future, and that's the town itself. You don't need to be a genius to know that this is no ordinary town. It appears in the middle of nowhere and traps people, where they must struggle to survive with limited resources and looming threats. What is this town? Is it a real place or simply a figment of our imaginations? How can people safely escape the town if they can at all? The finale of the second season shocked everyone when it was revealed that Tabitha was able to get out of the ghoulish town and come back to the real world. She herself doesn't know how she accomplished this, and as per the trailer of the next season, she actively busies herself trying to piece together clues so that she can get her family back to the real world as well. So we know that people can get out of the town, although we're fuzzy about the exact process required. We're going to leave that to the third season to sort out, but for now, let's dive into the town as we know it and explore the different dimensions associated with it. We'll also be talking about various theories fans have put forward regarding the town. Before we get into our explanation though, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Wait. Did we turn somewhere?
All this can't be the same place.
This is getting really creepy.
The town. No one can escape the place of From. The town in From is the center of the township, which mysteriously traps people traveling close to it. There's no set geographical location for the town, and everyone stumbles inside out of pure bad luck. This is only the beginning of the nightmare that starts haunting the people unfortunate enough to be trapped. The town is also home to deadly creatures that resemble humans in most aspects. These creatures come out after dark and hunt anyone in their way. As such, the town has no contact with the outside world and appears to be a singular entity that viciously makes people within play a game of life and death. At a cursory glance, it looks like a normal town, but judging by the lens of today, it certainly appears to have been stuck in time. The architecture and overall design of the place seem like it was constructed sometime during the 50s or 60s, and there have been no renovations as such. Even the American countryside isn't as vintage as the town. As the people journey past what can be assumed to be the limits of the township, they encounter a fallen tree. This marks the entrance to the town, and as long as someone encounters this, they're trapped within the town seemingly forever. If someone drives straight up this road in an attempt to get out of the town, they will simply be redirected back to the center. When the Matthews family encounters the fallen tree on the way during their road trip, they ask Boyd for directions to get back on their original route. However, no matter how much they drive, they appear to go in circles and just arrive at the same place every time. The main street of the town features many homes and a diner where the people have their meals, and the barn where livestock is raised. Across from the diner is an empty, somewhat dilapidated motel. We don't know if it was ever in operation, but there is an empty pool beside it containing an overturned car, and there are many other buildings that have been repurposed to be used as needed. For instance, the post office has become the sheriff's office, the gas station has been turned into a bar, and a small building made of stone has been converted into a church with a small graveyard on its side. There is also a school building a little farther away which has become the clinic. On the road up the hill from the town, there's a building called the Colony House where many people reside. There's a vast forest surrounding the town and the Colony House, and forests in horror shows are never fun places. There are magical trees within the forest that can transport people to different places. There is also a lot that has not been explored yet because people are naturally apprehensive about entering the forest. There's a vast network of caverns directly underneath the town called the tunnels, and this is where the creatures sleep during the day. These creatures look like human beings but assume their original appearances just before they kill someone. They slaughter without mercy and not necessarily for sustenance. As the sun goes down, the people of the town hurry to get inside inside their homes because anyone caught outside can be ripped to pieces by the creatures. Talismans, if placed at the entrance of a building, will not allow the creatures to enter. This doesn't mean the residents are completely safe within their homes, of course. The creatures are extremely intelligent and can manipulate people into letting them enter their homes, in which case they end up being killed. Most of the people who have been trapped within the town live at the center of the township, and Boyd Stevens is the sheriff and de facto mayor of the place. Everyone follows very stringent rules to make sure no one gets hurt or killed. Naturally, the aura of the place is very grim, as the residents are constantly watching their own backs and trying to stay alive. They have limited resources, as mentioned, and their only way to replenish what they need is by gathering the items of the people who get trapped within the town. They raise livestock, but no instance of agriculture has been shown. In the face of great danger, when tomorrow isn't promised, they value their lives above everything else.
Are we all clear? Looks like.
Places in the town. Even though the town is a scary place, the people trapped inside still need to make do with what they have and try to survive against all odds. For this reason, the various buildings already present in the town have been turned into operational units, as we mentioned. The show doesn't tell us if the town was previously inhabited by people and what happened to them in that case. The presence of the buildings and various amenities, such as a gas station, are signs that people lived here at some point in time. We will be exploring some of the important places within the town. The Sheriff's Office. This building was originally a post office, but it was turned into the office of Sheriff Boyd Stevens. It's also the official residence for him and his deputy, Kenny Lou. There's not much within the building except sleeping quarters, a makeshift holding cell, and an informal office setting. In the first season, we see a sign outside the Sheriff's office that reads Nights Without Incident 96. However, soon enough, Boyd erases this sign because 2 cars arrive in the town and a number of people are killed. When Father Cautry gives the newly arrived Matthews family a tour of the town, Tabitha asks him what the box-like thing near the sheriff's office is. She's told that's where residents are sent for the night if they break rules, and that it would be the first time they'd be using it. As Frank is sentenced to death, Boyd is seen visibly uncomfortable with the decision, and on his way back to the office, he stops by the box and gets inside to understand what it must be like to spend time there. After Frank's death, Boyd gathers wood to repair the box. Boyd is one of the central figures in the show, and he spends a lot of time in his office. He had a conversation regarding Sarah with Father Cautry in the building when he was preparing to head out to the forest to find a way out of town. It is during this time that Cautry reveals he knows why everyone is trapped within the town, and that Sarah is crucial in their survival and eventual escape. However, the priest doesn't live long enough to see this happen, as he is killed by the creatures. Later, the residents of the colony house arrive at the sheriff's office to stay temporarily. That night, Eric kills himself. Donna is seen examining a map that points out the original departure locations of people currently stuck in the town, and as Kenny enters the office, she tells him how they all started their journeys from different places but ended up in the same location. In season 2, a bus enters the town and causes massive chaos. Fatima and Ellis get inside the sheriff's office, and the former tries to warn people from the bus to stay put in their hiding places, but they don't pay heed and end up getting killed. Sarah and Kenny spend a lot of time in the building. As she is low-key outcasted by everyone in the town, Kenny makes sure to watch her moves. Sarah is the reason why Kenny's father was killed by the creatures, so despite her trying to apologize to him, Kenny takes no interest and even asks her to go spend the night in the box or kill herself using Boyd's spare gun. The diner. This is where the residents of the town have most of their meals. In the mornings, a community breakfast is served. This is also where most of the food supply is stored along with the belongings of the deceased. Tian Chen Lu manages the diner and does most of the cooking, and Sarah works as a waitress. It's also assumed that before the events of the show unfolded, Sarah was the one who would lock up the place before leaving at night. After Bing Qian's death, Tian Chen buries herself in her work at the diner, which alarms Kenny, who asks his mother to take it slow. She insists that she has too much to do and breaks a glass in the process. She then says that if she had been with her husband, maybe he wouldn't have died, but Kenny asks her not to dwell on what could have been. Sarah cleans up the broken glass, and later, when Jade cuts the food line, Tian Chen smacks him in the head. Jade engages in conversation with Kenny, leaving the town to be a part of an elaborate escape room. As Ethan and Jim arrive at the diner, Sarah tells them Tian Chen prepares something special for newcomers, and the older lady brings pancakes for Ethan. Victor arrives at the place and meets Ethan, and they have an interesting conversation about the boy in white. However, once Jim returns, he asks Victor to stay away from his son. At dinner time, Boyd talks to the Matthews family while Sarah observes them and sees the words "kill the boy" appear on her arm before having a seizure. Tian Chen takes Tabitha and Ethan to the storage area where the belongings of the deceased are kept. Later, the older woman gets a journal for Jade from the same place, which has pictures of the symbol he has seen on the tree. She has an altercation with some people who want to forcibly enter the diner because they're running low on food. Fortunately, Boyd intervenes, but Tian Chen tells him people are getting more afraid. In Season 2, the newcomers from the Grand Rapids Runner Bus are herded into the diner for their safety. However, they have no idea about the horrors waiting for them outside, and after a kerfuffle, some of them disregard Donna and Kenny's warnings and go out. Boyd later arrives at the diner and explains to Tian Chen that he just wants to keep Sarah alive despite her actions. Ethan and Julie help clean up the place and are complimented by Tian Chen for a job well done. There are some tabletop jukeboxes in the diner which randomly start playing songs. Although no one knows why this happens, some theories say that the songs usually act as signs of something that's about to happen. We're hoping that the next season of From addresses this particular mystery. The barn. This is where the livestock is kept by the residents. When Boyd and his family first arrived in town, they'd seen the words "Save Us" painted on the door of the unused barn. As Boyd later found goats and chickens in the forest, he brought them to the barn. When the Matthews arrive in town, Sarah takes Ethan and Tabitha to show them the barn. However, she locks Tabitha inside a door and grabs Ethan, telling him that she will save everyone and make him a hero. Nathan arrives in time and restrains Sarah, but she accidentally slashes his neck with a scalpel. She eventually runs away by the time people arrive, but Nathan succumbs to his injury. Tabitha and Julie later go to the barn to get some clothes after their home collapses. In the trailer for the 3rd season, Boyd is seen being dragged into the barn by 3 creatures who tie him to a pole while a woman screams in front of him. Some fans say this is Fatima giving birth while Boyd tries to comfort her. However, some other fans say this is Sarah. The woman's face is never shown, so we're waiting for the new season to drop to understand what happens in the barn. The bar. The bar used to be a gas station and was subsequently turned into a bar for the residents of the town. Tom built a distillery that produced vodka made from potatoes, but the quality was questionable. Frank was drunk and passed out in the bar when his wife and child were killed by creatures. Later, Jade enters the place and Tom explains that he built it because everyone needs to drink and process their emotions. We see this come true when Donna comes to the bar and tries to drink her sorrow over Eric's suicide. She tells Tom the alcohol is bad, but she needs to grieve. When the Grand Rapids bus arrives in town, Brian and Kelly take shelter at the bar, but Brian is killed by the creatures. Later, Bacta is drinking alone inside when Jade comes, and they talk about how they were supposed to be out in the real world celebrating, they got stuck in this town. As Jade becomes obsessed with the symbol he saw on the tree and the journal, he starts to spend more time in the bar, breaking glass bottles to arrange the pieces in a particular way. He even has visions of Tom asking him the reason behind his actions. Fans believe that Jade may play an important role in unearthing the mystery of the town, considering he's knee-deep in trying to understand the meaning behind the symbol. In the trailer for the 3rd season, he's seen encountering a person who seems to be drinking from a human skull. This came as a massive surprise to fans, since this is something we have never seen in the show so far. It's possible that in his attempt to understand what the symbol signifies, Jade came across an even bigger mystery. The church. The church is next to the town's graveyard. It consists of a main floor where sermons and services are held, and a basement. Lauren and Megan Pratt's funeral services are held in the church when the Matthews family arrives in the town. Boyd later arrives at the church and disagrees with Father Cautry over sentencing Frank to death. He also takes Frank's remains to the church after he is killed by the creatures. When Nathan is being buried, Cautry gives a sermon and talks to Tabitha, who asks him if any of what is happening is real. While he tells her Sarah ran into the forest and was probably killed, it's revealed that he was holding her in the basement. He tells Sarah that there is no copy of the Bible in the entire town and that he knows about her being able to hear voices. She explains to him how she can communicate with the town. Cautry realizes she's valuable to the residents. It's quite possible that the only reason Sarah is still alive is because of Cautry's intervention on her behalf. Boyd wasn't convinced about Sarah's abilities initially, but later begins to bond with her after she's outcasted by everyone in the town. The clinic. The old school building in the town was later repurposed into a clinic where the residents could avail themselves of medical treatment. An ambulance had gotten trapped within the town some time ago, and all the medical supplies available in the place were taken from there. The clinic has cots on the main and basement floors meant for patients, and the living quarters of Christy Miller, a 3rd-year medical student who is the de facto doctor of the town. Bing Chen used to live there as well due to his dementia, along with Gina, his nurse. Christy is seen calming down Bing Chen at the beginning of the show, and Kenny praises her for it. The next day, when 2 cars arrive at the town, one of the drivers, Toby, is rushed to the clinic. Sarah stops by the clinic later and hands Toby some water. That night, however, she stabs him in the neck and kills him. Bing Chen and Gina play chess and talk about the former's life. Sarah leaves the clinic at night but keeps the door open, and as a result, the creatures storm in and kill both Bing Chen and Gina. Christy mainly looks after the residents of the town whenever they get hurt or sick. When Ellis is stabbed and on the verge of death, she tells everyone that he needs a blood transfusion. However, Boyd refuses because of the worms in his blood, which he doesn't want to pass on to his son. At the last moment, however, However, he has an idea and goes out to lure a creature to him. The smiley creature arrives and Boyd attacks it, and for some mysterious reason, the worms move from Boyd's body to that of Smiley's, which ultimately kills the creature. Boyd then rushes back to perform the blood transfusion, and Ellis is saved. Christie also performs an autopsy on the dead creature to understand their physiology better, hoping to find a clue that could help the residents in killing them. However, everyone is shocked to see that the creature's internal structure is the same as that of a human, except that the organs are dry and shriveled up. There's no fluid anywhere inside the body of the creature except for its bile. Fatima asks Christie to administer a pregnancy test and comes to realize she's pregnant with Ellis's child. Fans have found some interesting things in the clinic that they think will play a major role in the development of the story. The name of the former school isn't shown, and only the letters S, T, A, and L are visible. That being said, there are some intact names in the clinic that could possibly point to the name of the town as well. These are West Falls, Celestial, and Canning West. This is quite significant because the name of the town is never mentioned in the show, it's simply referred to as the town. Fans have coined the term Fromville to describe the town, but that's definitely not the real name. The tunnels. These are located just below the town, and they're basically an elaborate system of caves. The creatures sleep here during the day, and the walls of the caves are filled with numerous drawings. Tabitha discovers the caves by accident when she digs the basement of her house and falls below. She meets Victor there, who tells her the boy in white had told him she would come. He also tells her the creatures sleep in the caves and shows her their paintings. The two of them walk ahead and come across sleeping creatures. Tabitha sees a ghoulish child and gets frightened, and Victor tells her to hurry up as the creatures will wake up soon. The two somehow make a frantic exit into the forest. Later, Tabitha witnesses the ghoulish children at the mouth of the caves, and she asks them who they are. They keep saying "Ang Kui" and surround her and finally vanish into thin air. Jade goes into the caves and again witnesses the children saying the same thing, and as he looks up, he sees the light pouring into the cave and the roots at the top of the cave forming the symbol he's been obsessed with. The creatures inhabit the caves during the daytime, and fans suggest that the ghoulish children also live there. Various things have been observed inside the caves by the people who have gone in. Some of these are bicycles and tricycles, a suitcase with a wedding dress inside, a green wagon, a bird cage, an old TV, books, clocks, a wheelchair, a ventriloquist dummy, and rats feeding on a dead bird. The Grand Rapids Runner Bus. This is a passenger bus that got trapped in the town carrying 25 people. When it comes to the town, the people are naturally puzzled and somewhat afraid. As they're being taken into the diner for safety, some of them protest and try to go back to the bus. Donna is forced to fire her shotgun into the bus's wheels to make the people get inside. At night, the smiley creature hops onto the bus and mimics driving it before finding a couple hiding inside and killing them. Donna later makes Randall stay on the bus, and at night, the creatures knock on the windows and harass him. However, when Randall tells them he's not afraid of them, they leave. How does someone get trapped there? There's a lot of discourse online about the town and how people get trapped within. It appears as if the people got trapped at random, as they were all traveling from one place to another for a number of reasons and ended up inside the town after encountering the fallen tree. As the tree has no physical location, it's difficult to determine how and why these people got trapped, and also if other people who were traveling the same route did not get trapped. Of course, everyone who's made it to the town has stumbled into it by accident. At this point in the show, Victor is the oldest resident of the town and is believed to have been stuck there for almost 40 years, if not more. Not a lot is mentioned about his arrival, except that he had come with his mother and sister. Every subsequent arrival to the town has been random as hell, as Jade had realized after pointing out the locations from where the residents had originally began their journeys. Some fans believe that the town itself is an entity, and it chooses who it traps within it. The creatures are just creations of the town, and well, at some point it used to be a normal town with people inhabiting it. That changed for some reason, and the inhabitants were turned into the creatures. This makes some sense because the creatures have the anatomy of humans except body fluids, and they're dressed in vintage styles too, which matches the town's aesthetic. However, if that is the case, who is the boy in white, and why has he not become a creature? This is a valid theory, but it is just a theory after all, and there are a lot of loose ends. Some other fans also believe that the town chooses who to trap, and they say that this happens because most of the characters who end up getting trapped are in the process of embarking on a significant change in their lives, which obviously affects their emotional stability. Jim and Tabitha were about to get a divorce, or at least get separated, and the entire family was under a lot of emotional stress after having lost their youngest child. Sarah was being taken home by her brother, and he almost had to rescue her. Boyd and his family were going away from a military base after his retirement. The Liu family was also going to embark on a challenging journey with Bing Chen's dementia progressing rapidly. Tilly had just been diagnosed with cancer, which was going to kill her in a matter of time. Essentially, most of the residents of the town were transitioning to a different stage stage in life when they were trapped. This could explain the title of the show, as they were going from one life to another. These transitions were mostly not happy ones, and the uncertainty of the future could have played a role in them being trapped in the town. Being when she got trapped, of course, this doesn't explain every person's backstory, because Donna was just hunting when she got trapped, and it doesn't appear as if she was transitioning at all. That said, the backstories of all the characters haven't been explored explicitly, so this theory can't be dismissed in totality. Some fans believe in the purgatory theory, which essentially means that the residents of the town are in a physical purgatory, not a spiritual one. Most of the residents were in a stage of life where they were feeling broken, and that's why they got trapped in the town, or the town chose them. Purgatory refers to a place where souls go to refine themselves before they can finally ascend to heaven. So, the town could be an earthly purgatory that traps all the people who are emotionally fragile and refines them in a way that once they die in the town, they ascend to heaven. This theory assumes that the town is a middle place between human life and the afterlife. The people in the town aren't dead, but they aren't necessarily alive either. However, some other fans say that while the town chooses to trap people within it, it's not necessarily an evil entity. It's possible that it chooses people in the hopes that one of them will somehow break the curse that has been inflicted on the town and end the legacy of horror. Some fans believe that Tabitha is the person who finally found a way to break the cycle, and now the onus is on her to help the rest of the people get back from the town. This automatically implies that the town is cursed in some manner, which is why people can't get out and creatures hunt the residents. However, we don't know who cursed the town or what happens to the people who die within it. Does death mean they get to go back to the real world, or do they die for good? This view needs to be substantiated more, as the origins of the town are still largely mysterious, and the one person who probably holds the key to understanding the past of the town, Victor, isn't the most reliable narrator. There is another interesting theory that some fans believe can explain the happenings in From. Before we get into this, please remember that none of this is substantiated by the writers of the show, and everything we're talking about here is pure fan theory. This upcoming theory might be a little too unrealistic and overarching, but, well, it's a theory after all. This theory compares the town to an alien four-dimensional carnivorous pitcher plant. This plant feeds and grows in size and lures people in with a siren call, and only people who are emotionally fragile or psychic sensitive can hear it. The fallen tree is compared to the pitcher plant's lid, which allows the flies, meaning the residents, inside. The plant dips into the three-dimensional world we see around us, and anytime it senses a vulnerability, it lures a person in. Basically, the plant exists in multiple dimensions, so it has the ability to gather materials from three-dimensional space and make things appear as if they were constructed normally. The plant recreates things as if they were all made by humans. Think of it as a more refined version of the Upside Down from Stranger Things, where instead of the parallel universe thing, there is a somewhat familiar universe created by the plant. There is also some speculation about the mythological origin of the town, with some unknown deity controlling everything that happens within. The various symbols and rituals observed routinely could point to the creatures being under the control of something even more evil, which could explain the existence of the town. We would have to make a 10-hour-long video if we had to explain every theory out there that fans have put forth. The buzz around this show is very real, and everyone is desperate for answers because with every season, we've only had more questions in our minds. It's expected that the third season will tackle some part of the question about how people get trapped in the town, as the trailer has shown some new variations and happenings in the From universe. Was Victor the first person to be trapped, or something else? Victor is one of the most enigmatic residents of the town, and many fans believe that he might just be the person who has the answers. He's the oldest resident of the town, which is quite shocking because given the nature of the place, most people don't make it through a year here, and this guy's been alive for decades. This in itself points to the fact that Victor knows more than he's letting on, and it's his knowledge that has helped him survive all this while. A big chunk of fans believe that the town in From was just a normal town at one point, but due to something, it changed and became absorbed into a different world where everything was hellish and trauma-inducing. This is supported in some ways because Victor is always very quiet about his arrival to the town and refuses to talk about it. He also lives in the colony house as opposed to the town, potentially because he was traumatized by whatever happened there, and the town reminds him of how it used to be before things went haywire. When Jade finds a photograph of a young Victor with a smiling, older man, it's obvious that the picture was taken in the town. It raises the question as to why anyone would take a picture smiling into the camera when they're in the town with all its horrors. It is possible that the picture is from a time when everything was normal and peaceful. Lastly, a lot of fans believe that the creatures in the show are some form of fae, and that the town itself is run by some evil superhuman power. In myth, fae are known for making deals with humans. It's possible that as a young child, Victor made a deal that backfired and made the town into what it currently is. Victor also says how the town is his home, which could just be the truth. However, it's also entirely possible that Victor was not the first person to be trapped, because he clearly states his mother had driven him and his sister to the town. We get that his version of things isn't always reliable, but we have to also give him the benefit of the doubt in this case. For all we know, Victor could have just been one of the unfortunate souls who got trapped inside the town after others had already been trapped. He knows more about the place than anyone else, but due to the trauma he represses as well as other personality traits, he never gives clear answers to questions about his past. That being said, Victor was indirectly responsible for Tabitha escaping the town and going back to the real world. This is why many fans say that he's well aware of everything that's happening and he knows how to escape the place as well. But maybe because he's been trapped there for so long, he truly considers it his home and isn't ready to come back to the real world. Marvelous verdict! There are so many mysteries in From that it becomes difficult to focus on only one without tying loose ends to each other. The origins of the town are directly associated with the creatures, and the creatures can explain a lot about the happenings within the town. Victor is one character who ends up becoming a central figure in the discussion about the town, and with him comes the boy in white, who pushes Tabitha out of the tower and transports her in some way back to the real world. All of this is interlinked, and this definitely seems to support the theory that the town is a living organism, and any action creates a chain effect that ends up making ripples. The third season of From is set to explore even bigger mysteries because we have a new creature making an appearance, winter setting in after what appears to have been a very long summer, a mysterious figure drinking from a human skull, and even more death. As Tabitha is likely to try and find a way to rescue her family from the town after having escaped it herself, we will also get an exterior perspective on the place from the prism of the real world. It's safe to say that while the town in From traps people inside with seemingly no means of escape, it's possible to find a way back to the real world. The question is, will the residents be able to figure out how? What are your theories about the town? Do you believe it's a vast simulation program set to observe human behavior, or are you willing to believe that it's beyond the comprehension of mankind? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.